You're listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Goon Podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon, John Santucci, the Tooch, and the man with the plan, Adam Shaw. We're bringing you the fantasy football knowledge that you need every single week.
Derrick Henry still going. He might go. 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Flushed out again all the way back. Turning the corner. Fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes turns what might have been a 15-yard sack into a 27-yard touchdown.
Saquon Barkley across midfield, down the sideline, stayed in bounds, and Barkley takes it all the way. 68 yards for his first NFL touchdown. McCaffrey right up the middle, and he is gone for the touchdown. 58 yards. Pass is to Thomas. He's gone. Touchdown Saints.
Okay, it's time for the easiest part of any coach's job, the cut. Now, while I wasn't able to cut everyone I wanted to, I have cut a lot of you. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you. Congratulations, the rest of you made the team. Except you, and you.
God bless fantasy football. There are many things a man can do with his time. And this, better than those things.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Week 2 Fantasy Football Goon Show here on the Ballroom Network. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon. I'm joined, as always, by my fantasy football brothers in arms. I'm talking about Adam Shaw, the man with the plan. And in for John Santucci today is familiar to many Ballroom folk is Steven Zimmerman. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing good this morning, Joe. Good to join you guys. Sorry I missed last week.
It's all good, brother. Zim, nice to have you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's a little tight timing-wise for me, but, we're going to make it happen. We're going to get some good picks in. We're going to get all kinds of good advice, hopefully, to people in chat. So,
yeah, Aldo wants some knowledge, so you're in the right place, Aldo. You are indeed.
Morning, Aldo.
Good morning. We're off to the races here with some football coming up real soon. Inactives slowly starting to pour in, so as they come through, I will continue to update folks. Inactives slowly starting to pour in. Wow, I got a little echo coming off of myself.
My bad, guys.
It's all good, man. I was like, dude, what's going on? Well, anyway, man, before we dive in, there's a couple big injuries last week. Actually, this week, Austin Eckler goes down during the Thursday night game. And the backfield in Washington certainly becomes an interesting one right away. Adam, what are your takeaways from that injury?
Well, obviously I think it ups the value for old Bill Krosky Merritt or whatever the hell his last name is. But Bill, as everybody knows him now, I think his value obviously goes up. And then it's kind of in question after that, I'd say. I think maybe that Rodriguez might get more work, but I think we got to kind of see what happens today. But he's a guy that might be worth stashing today before the game start, just in case, see what happens, But it's kind of in question right now. The Commanders are kind of doing what the Houston Texans did last year. The quarterback overplayed year one and now is looking a little more human, that everybody kind of knows what to expect. And so the Commanders' offense is down as a whole, in my opinion. So, I'm not rushing to grab anybody, but it might be a good stash to grab Rodriguez if he's available.
I love that. I love that call for sure. Especially considering who knows, they may even try to trade for a running back. There's a couple folks out there that are
could.
Even on the Jets, that is a hot name that could potentially be a Breece Hall. But anyway, Zim, I know we talked football all week, but you've been kind of stuck in a Bears coma from that terrible performance last week.
A little bit.
So real quick before we get into our starts and sits for the week, just wanted to get from you. I'm totally putting Zim on the spot here. I haven't prepared him or anything. But last week 1 fantasy, was there a big takeaway for you? Something that surprised you, or something that you're like, okay, that's exactly what I expected?
More so, excuse me. I feel like this season, every season you kind of have a different picture, like big picture for what you're looking at week in and week out. And like last year, it felt like you could really just like count on the big names, like make sure you get your big guys in there. And like, granted, it was only week 1, but I felt like my bench was a lot more valuable than it has been in years past, with guys like AJ Brown not putting up a whole lot of points. Justin Jefferson, he did put up a good game, but he didn't put up like a Justin Jefferson good game. You know what I mean? And things like that. So, when I look at last week's scoring versus this week's scoring, I opted to bench Terry McLaurin. I opted to bench AJ Brown. I opted to bench Ashton Genty because
you bench Genty. Interesting.
I'm benching. Well, and keep in mind, this is a 6-team league, so rosters are stacked. But I have Barkley and A-Chain, and I'm putting Puka Nacua at my flex. So, when you're in those really high scoring leagues, like that's how you're going to win those kind of leagues, especially in what this season so far through 1 week has been, counting on those role players a little bit more than in years past. And I feel like it was this way about 3 years ago as well, where like a lot of your big names, we had like Tyreek Hill go off that year, but then, that was the year Puka Nacua broke out. That was the year, that was the year before A-Chain, I believe, entered the league. Like, you've got these breakouts every year, and every few years, you have a lot more, it feels like, because some of these more steady producers are starting to age out and some of the younger guys are starting to develop.
Big facts there, Zim. It was a weird week 1 for sure. I think I'm lucky I only lost one of my matchups in all my leagues, but certainly a weird week for sure. With that said, let's dive into our starts and sits for the week. Now, obviously, if you guys have questions in the chat, get them in there. We're going to answer them all morning as long as we can until we a little bit before kickoff. So let's get off to the races here. Adam, before we get going, I forgot to ask you, do you have a cutoff time today?
Yeah, I need to be out at 11:30. I got to go to work.
You got it, boss.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Let's dive in. Adam, I guess we can start with you. What's your quarterback starts?
I'm going to go with our guy Justin Fields today versus Buffalo. Buffalo defense isn't as good as it, sounds like it is in everybody's mind. We saw them give up a lot of yards last week. I know it was to the Ravens and not necessarily Justin Fields, but still Justin Fields looked really good last weekend. The Jets looked good. I think, they've got a coach that knows how to use him, and they're going to probably be playing from behind most of the game. So there's probably going to be a lot of scrambling going on for Justin Fields. So I think there's going to be a lot of cheap, easy points out there. So if you don't have one of those stud quarterbacks, I think Fields is going to be a good play in that game. And then Justin Herbert, Chargers looked awesome, obviously, in week 1 versus the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Herbert looked great. Jim Harbaugh is just a fantastic coach. I mean, he's as good as it gets. Las Vegas, again, not that great of a defense. They got a good pass rush, but I think Herbert's going to beat that with quick passes to Keenan Allen over the middle, slants. Keenan Allen's back to being a quality wide receiver too, again, now that he's back with the Chargers. And then I'll take my guy Dak Prescott versus the Giants. 13 straight wins versus the Giants for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. It's unbelievable. Not even Aaron Rodgers did that to the Bears.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. 13 straight. And Dak Prescott dominated them the last couple of years in games. Him and CeeDee Lamb have had monster games versus the Giants, so I love both of them today. Again, if you don't have one of those studs, I think Dak Prescott's going to be a huge game today. I hope.
Yeah, get right game for Dallas for sure. I'm aligned with you there. What's up, Facheezy? What's up, Barroom? Appreciate it. Let's dive into Zim's quarterback starts. I know he also has Fields and Dak, but why don't we talk about the other outlier there?
Yeah, my third is CJ Stroud. You want to talk about a get right game? I mean, who needs it more than him after the performance he threw up last week? And
that's pretty bad.
and an opportunity against Tampa Bay. Tampa's got that good front seven, but there's opportunity to throw on them in what could potentially be a pretty decently scoring game. Maybe not the high scoring game of the week, but we're talking mid 20 points for each game, opportunity for a couple touchdowns and 200 yards easily for Stroud. Baker's going to be throwing the ball around on the other side, and CJ's going to have to step up to keep up. So, yeah, CJ Stroud, I think, is a good start candidate. Funny enough, he actually just got dropped in our barroom league this morning.
I saw that.
So, if he's available in your league, though, which he is in a significant amount of leagues at this point in time, and you're already, kind of struggling with quarterbacks, especially in some of these deeper leagues where, you might have been relying on a Caleb Williams, a JJ McCarthy, a Jared Goff, and it doesn't look like those guys. 3 NFC North quarterbacks, how funny. But, it doesn't look like those guys are going to produce necessarily the way that they were talked about in the offseason. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking for that streamer option today, which I know it's only week 2, but let's face it, it's happening for some of us. So
buy a start early, guys. Buy a start week 5 for the Steelers after that Ireland game. So
week 5, Steelers, Packers, Bears, and somebody else.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. But they're coming. They're coming for you. But good stuff there, gentlemen. I actually have 3 quarterbacks on my start list that are on none of your guys' list.
Nice.
I like Kyler Murray today against Carolina. I think Carolina's defense was as bad as advertised last week, and Kyler's going to use his legs and throw against them, so I love him. Also, I think Drake May finally has that big breakout fantasy game against Miami today. He's going to run all over them, and then his tight end as well, Hunter Henry. I think those guys are going to hook up a lot today. Miami might be the worst team in football. They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't see much hope for them. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Look for Drake May to be a worthy start. People are going to talk about him moving forward after today. I started him last week, and he was, a little iffy in that game, but I think this week he makes me look good. And last but not least on this list, I think Trevor Lawrence goes off today against Cincinnati. That Jags offense looked pretty good, and I think Cincinnati they did everything on offense. They have all their money on the offensive side of the ball and one defensive player. They didn't change much on their defense. We all know how bad Cincy's defense is. They got absolutely trounced all year last year. So Trevor Lawrence, available in way too many leagues, I will say. A guy you could pick up and stream today, and I think he'll get you between 25 and 30-ish points. So
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I figure Cincinnati probably gets ahead in that, and the Jaguars have to keep up with them too, so that's even better for that. I like that call.
Yeah, that could easily be the highest scoring game of the week.
Yeah, it could.
Could be a lot of garbage time points in that game. All right, let's get to running backs. I'll go in. I'll stick with that same game. I like Travis Etienne against Cincinnati. Tank Bigsby traded to the Eagles. Unfortunately, I had Tank Bigsby in a couple leagues, and his fantasy value kind of craps out there being behind Saquon, unless he gets hurt. But Travis is going to run all over Cincinnati. They cannot stop the run at all. He was the guy last week. And I definitely think he's going to reward fantasy owners for taking a shot on him super late. So I love Travis Etienne today. Sticking with the Cowboys game as well, another game that's probably going to have a good chunk of points. Javonte Williams looked I'd say he looked pretty good week 1. He was more involved and more flashy than I thought he would be. So against the Giants defense that seems to be pretty soft based off what I saw last week, I like Javonte today for a couple more of those goal line touchdowns. And speaking of goal line touchdowns, Jordan Mason, I know I had him last week against the Bears, but I think he's the better back. I think he's the younger back. He's just a big man. He's gonna be the goal line back. Atlanta is gonna just be pedestrian at defense per usual. And I expect Mason to have at least 2 goal line touchdowns in this game. And he showed a lot of flash last week against the Bears, so I'm looking forward to him all year long.
Yeah, they could do nothing on the ground until he came in the game, and then it was nice chunk runs each time with him. With Aaron Jones, nothing would happen on the ground.
Yeah, so, I mean, Mason's the guy there. Jones is towards the tail end of his career, and let's be honest, Jones can't stay healthy anyway.
He's just going to be the passing down back mostly and
exactly.
Get a few carries.
For sure. Let's get into Zim's running back starts of the week.
Yeah, Chase Brown at Jacksonville. A lot of the same things that you already mentioned in that Jacksonville-Cincinnati game. A lot of opportunity for late game stuff to happen. In addition to, Chase Brown, that's not a great front seven out there in Jacksonville. And Brown is a true starter. It feels silly to have to tell people to start him, but I know that he's not starting in a small percentage of leagues still. James Conner versus Carolina. The Carolina defense just isn't that great. And especially if Arizona gets out to an early lead, they're just going to feed James Conner. He's still a wrecking ball. He always has been. Lastly, I got Kyron Williams at Tennessee. I think this is a good opportunity for Kyron Williams to do some of what he did last year, some of what he did 2 years ago, where, he just gets a whole bunch of yak yards. He gets a whole bunch of yards after contact. He just rips off a few, 2, 3 20-yard gainers, and all of a sudden his fantasy value goes from 4 points to 24 points in the fourth quarter.
For sure.
So
I love that. Yeah, Kyron Williams looking to turn it on today against Tennessee. We do have a question here from Steven. Waddle or Walker today? Totally torn. PPR.
That is pretty tough. I'd probably go with Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle is going to have a good season. By the end of this, it may be ugly here at the beginning. I don't think the Dolphins' offense is as bad as it's looked. I mean, I do think they are one of the worst teams in the league. Don't get me wrong, but I think Waddle's going to. I mean, Tyreek Hill's on the end here. Like, Waddle's going to have to be the guy for him mostly, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. With Walker, I'm worried about. I mean, Zach Charbonnet looks very good. Walker's always barely healthy, it seems like. So, I mean, Waddle's always barely healthy too. Waddle has a permanent spot in the medical tent every week. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. For me, I'd probably take my chance with Waddle in PPR league for sure.
In PPR, I go Waddle. You just kind of have to hope that you get good Tua today. I think Tua is the Rex Grossman of his day. Some days he looks elite, and other days you're like, why is he even in the league? And if you get good Tua, you get lots of points. So,
yeah, I fall somewhere in between. I think they end up having very similar stat lines, if I'm being completely honest. But I guess I'll lean towards Waddle as well. I think hot take. I think Kenneth Walker ends up on the Commanders. So that's just my hot take there.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Ended up on the Bears about 2 weeks ago.
That would have been nice, but anyway.
Certain aggregate accounts told me he was gonna.
Well, I guess anything can happen.
I'm scared to play Walker right now because I just don't know what they're doing there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got for running backs, Adam?
I like James Conner, like Zim said. When James Conner's healthy, he's an absolute must start. I mean, he's a workhorse back. He's on the field all the time. Trey Benson's a great player as a backup, but he's mostly just a passing down guy. He's not going to take carries from Conner. If Conner's healthy, Conner's going to be out there. He's one of those guys kind of like Kyron Williams that Zim just mentioned as well. He's almost guaranteed a touchdown every game. At some point, they get down to the 5-yard line, and he either runs it in or they dump it off to him, and he scores on just a cheap little screen pass over there. But he's a stud. When he's healthy, he's a must start. And I like Omarion Hampton today versus Las Vegas. He didn't put up a ton of points last week, but he had a lot of usage. It was a tough matchup versus Chiefs defense for a running back. He had 17 or 18 touches overall. I think it's going to ease up a little bit versus Las Vegas today, and I think he has a really good game. I think there's so many rookies this year that I think are usable very early here in the season already. And then Breece Hall, the Jets rushing offense looked awesome last week. Again, I think they're going to have to get him going versus Buffalo, and he's going to be he's basically the number 2 receiver behind Garrett Wilson. They're going to drop it off to him as much as, and Fields is more than willing to throw to the running backs. We've seen that. So I think he's going to have a role. Even if they get behind, he's still going to be out there and have a good role.
Yeah, that Jets offense looked really good last week, and pretty much against most other teams, they probably would have won that game, but Steelers found a way to pull it out.
And Buffalo tends to let teams hang in there until the end, until they have to put their foot on the gas, and like even against the Jets, I won't be surprised if it's close until late in the third quarter or something, and then Buffalo pulls away from them.
That is the truth. Good stuff. Inactives still starting to come in, so as they officially come, I will pull them up. Let's take a look at our wide receiver starts. Adam, we'll let you take us away.
Unfortunately, I like Jameson Williams today versus our Bears. The Bears secondary is just in question with all their health every week right now. Jameson Williams, I think, is in line for a good season here coming up. I just think he's got good matchups, and the Bears are known to give up huge plays, and that's what Jameson Williams does. He's going to – if the Bears have one poor tackle or anything, he's going to make them pay. If TJ Edwards isn't out there covering the middle, making tackles, Jameson Williams is going to burn them on a slant or something, or he's going to get behind our defense. So I like Jameson Williams. I think I was looking at like the prop bets. He's got like 51 yards or something today. I think that's a smash play to go over today for him. And then I'll take T. Higgins versus Jacksonville. We've talked about that game already, possibly being a lot of points scored and a lot of yardage. Jamar Chase obviously gets the first look on all the defensive side there, so T. Higgins should be a great play today. And then I'll take Keenan Allen. I mentioned earlier versus Las Vegas. He's going to be a legit wide receiver too all year, I think, with Justin Herbert back there. They have trust built together already. Jim Harbaugh is going to love a veteran receiver like that, and they're going to feed him all the time, even in the red zone. I think he's a great play in PPR all season.
Yeah, I wish he was that good for the Bears last year, but part of what
Bears
it is.
don't know how to use good players like that.
Yeah.
They had Matt Eberflus coaching them.
That's right. Our buddy Caesar.
And Keenan Allen actually did have a decent season if you look back at his stats, especially the second half. It wasn't that bad. He was actually pretty usable in fantasy for about a month straight.
Oh, yeah. He was Caleb Williams' favorite target for about a month stretch there.
Yeah, he won a couple of weeks for me when I had to fill in receiver and injured guys.
But Cesar's got a question. Laporta or Andrews a tight end today?
To me, it's easily Andrews.
I like Andrews to bounce back today for sure as well. I mean,
likely Laporta is out again, by the way. He's officially out. So,
yeah. I mean, I always like tight ends against the Bears, but I do think Mark Andrews bounces back today.
Well, I mean, how did Hawkins? Well, I believe Hawkinson had a decent game against the Bears last week, now that I think about it. But I also believe that Cleveland's numbers are a little inflated last week. They're showing as a really bad matchup for most passing matchups. And I don't think that's accurate. I think that it's too early in the season to be trusting our matchup generators on the fantasy football sites. That's something to keep in mind, that you're going to see a lot of bad matchups that aren't actually bad matchups because it's such a small sample size.
100% agree. That's why there's not like a whole lot of analysis at this point in the season for us, in my opinion. Like, you're just kind of predicting things right now because there's not enough. We haven't seen enough yet to know what a lot of these teams are going to do. There's all these rookies involved, and Jim's exactly right on that.
That's it. Give us another 3 weeks or so, and Adam's going to have all your target shares broken down. He's going to have all of the, this team gives up this many points to this position, and there'll be some real facts behind what we're spitting here. Whereas early in the season, a lot of it's vibes and estimations.
Yeah, exactly.
Projections. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well, your first guy on your list, Zim, he's going to eat today.
Well, yeah, you want to talk about vibes and projections. I mean, Joe started talking about Emeka Egbuka early on in the offseason, and I've been riding it with him in every league except the one that we're in together because you got it from me.
Yes.
So
I reached, but it's not really a reach anymore.
That's it. We did our season kickoff show, and I made the joke about what if I just targeted all of our league winners, and in one league I managed to get all 4 of our league winners. So I'm very curious to see how that league turns out this year. But at any rate, I've got Egbuka versus Houston. I mean, he just looked unstoppable last week. It was only 4 catches, but they were 4 very meaningful, very impactful catches that led to 23 fantasy points. So expect him to, gain more trust with his quarterback. As I was talking about earlier with CJ Stroud as a start, I think this is going to be a passing game, not a running game. I don't particularly like Bucky Irving in this game for what that's worth. And it's because I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more. I don't think it's going to be a backfield kind of game. Secondly, I've got
Baker already trust him not like a rookie. I mean, Baker already
exactly.
They already have that going. Baker fully treats him like all the others and has full confidence.
And he's got other guys on the field to take attention away from him too. And that's so critical for these guys in fantasy. His target share expect to keep rising over the next few weeks until he's, I would say, probably looking at a 20 to 25% target share at some point this season. I think he's going to get a ton of attention. So
yeah, Godwin or somebody's going to have to get dealt when Jalen McMillan comes back too, because they're going to be loaded with McMillan, Igbuka, Godwin, Evans. Like somebody's got to go.
It's unfortunately probably going to be Evans of all people, and only because he's the veteran in the room. You know, if you're building a young core, you want the young guys there.
Yeah, it'll probably be Evans and Godwin eventually too, because Godwin's just had so many injuries now.
That's true. I wouldn't be surprised for, and talk about a long shot projection, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Evans involved in some kind of Keenan Allen type deal like last year where, he got shipped out for a season and then had to come back on a much cheaper deal. So, but speaking of target share, guys, I'm going to skip the middle guy and go to Jacoby Myers versus the Chargers. His target share was too great to ignore last week. He is clearly Geno Smith's favorite target. He had something like 9 or 10 targets last week. Like, I don't expect that to go down at all this week. I expect him to get looked at right or early and often, and possibly put up a really nice stat line if that game turns into any kind of back and forth scoring.
Geno
and then lastly,
man. I mean, Geno loves to throw it.
He really does, man. I mean, Geno.
He piles up yards quicker than anybody, it seems like. Before you know it, at the end of the game, Geno's got 350 yards, and you're like, holy shit, where did that come from?
He has turned into a gunslinger, man. I mean, I remember him at West Virginia putting up some stupid stat lines, and it looks like he's going to try to do it again this year. So,
one of the more impressive careers that totally looked like it was over, and you almost forgot he was even in the league. And all of a sudden, he's been a starter for, 5 or 6 years straight now, at least?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looks damn good.
Yeah, he plays very solid.
Just goes to show what going to the New York Jets can do to a person, Yeah.
A lot of maturity happens.
Sam Darnold too, man. And lastly, I've got Ladd McConkey at Las Vegas. Ladd McConkey's a true wide receiver 1 at this point. If you don't think so, it's because you're not paying attention. He is, again, a legitimate wide receiver 1, not just on his team, but in the league. He is one of those top 8 guys now at this point that is – he should be an automatic start. I will not be mentioning him in my starts and sits from here forward because I tend to try to avoid preaching obvious guys as starts.
Sure.
And that's why he's in my list today and won't be moving forward, is to tell everybody this is an obvious start. Don't stop starting him.
He's kind of like Cooper Kupp, in my opinion, in the past.
Yeah.
He's gonna get his targets. He's gonna get his catches. Just get him out there.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp before he went to the Seahawks.
Yeah, obviously. Cooper Kupp like 2 years ago and before.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Cooper Kupp on the Seahawks kind of feels like Jerry Rice on the Seahawks. It's like, yeah, he's there, but.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we got a couple questions here. We got one from our buddy Adam. Start 2, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Igbuka, Sutton, Flowers. And would you start any of them over Travis Etienne or at flex?
I'm starting Nico for sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Nico. Whoa. Igbuka.
Pretty stacked team.
I would go Collins, Igbuka. Only because I think that Igbuka's upside is higher than Wilson's. So here's what you got to consider. Are you looking for your highest ceiling or for your highest floor? That's where you kind of have to make that decision. To me, your highest floor is going to be with Collins and Wilson, keeping ETN Jr. at flex. Your highest ceiling, I think, is with Collins and Igbuka.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd probably play Collins, Wilson, and ETN. But if I'm an underdog by a lot, I would maybe put Igbuka in there.
I think Flowers has a shot for a big game again, too. I don't think last week was a fluke. I really don't. He was putting up huge numbers at the end of last year. He started off this season with a bang. I think Zay Flowers is going to be talked about as a potential league winner this year.
I don't know. He worries me.
I
One of
completely
those guys I
understand
love
it.
to watch him, but I don't trust him. I never draft him. He's one
Yep.
of those guys. Joe knows what I mean. He's not an Amari Cooper to me, but he's one of those guys to me. Like, he's an awesome player, but not on my team.
Yeah. I took the flyer
Yeah.
on him this season, so I'm trying to will it into existence.
An early flyer. I think you took him in the 4th or 5th round.
I took him way early, yeah.
For my 2 cents, I'm taking Collins, Egbuka, and ETN here. So I'm going to go
You're
with
going Collins,
upside.
Egbuka, and ETN?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that.
And then we got another one here from Alex Smith, the former quarterback, joining us here. So, Alex, thank you so much. Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Kyle Pitts, PPR.
I go Pitts. I like his connection with Penix.
I'm going back to Njoku this week. I think he bounces back.
Yeah, I'm probably going Njoku as well.
Evan Ingram's been banged up.
Mm-hmm.
The Denver offense, I mean, they're good, but they kind of need to have a better performance than last week.
Yeah.
Pitts isn't that versus the Vikings, right? Defense? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a
Pretty good
tough
defense.
matchup.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
Njoku.
that's why I do like Kyle Pitts in this, though. I think there's going to be a lot of quick passes, a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of catch and run opportunity, and your tight end is a huge asset in a game like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I can see that point. While we're talking about Kyle Pitts, I got to bring you guys up a guillotine league question. So we have 2 flex spots in the league, and I've got a bunch of tight ends on my roster.
Taking my approach. Nice.
Well, it was really just kind of going best available tail end of the draft. But, of course, I've got Jonnu Smith in one of the flex points because he looked good with Aaron Rodgers last week.
Mm-hmm.
I also have Kyle Pitts and tight end for the Cowboys, Ferguson. So right now I got Ferguson and Jonnu. Ferguson's my tight end. Jonnu's my other flex. And my other flex position is between Kyle Pitts or Nick Chubb. I kind of like Chubb today. What are you guys thinking?
I'd probably play Chubb for sure touches and points. You'll get there. You know, you're not going to get a 0 for sure. There's a chance for the touchdown. So I would probably go with Chubb, and
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, in guillotine, you're definitely looking for your highest floor, and so that's why I'd probably go Chubb.
That's what I did. I'm glad you guys are aligned with me.
I think Ferguson has the best target chances there. Also, like he always gets the ball thrown to him in the red zone. It may not always work out, but he always gets it thrown to him in the red zone.
Like they may not have looked great week 1, but I tell you what, Ferguson did get those. He still got those targets. So,
yeah, he did.
Yeah. Definitely an unsung tight end that you could get late in drafts. So
I was trying to decide this morning between like you had 2 tight ends. I had Njoku and Kincaid and 2 flex, or the tight end and a flex.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ended up taking Kincaid out for God, I can't remember now. Same kind of deal though as you. It's like kind of 7 or 8 points either way. I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Don't just keep me safe.
Did you see in our guillotine league, Jonathan Taylor went for like $300+?
Zach Ertz went for like 80 or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, I know Ertz is pretty good with Jaden Daniels. I know he has been, but damn, like he's.
I had a $5 bid. I had a $5 bid on him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Adam, appreciate you, man. This 10-man sleeper league, pretty good team. Bijan and Bucky are running back, very solid, man, very solid. Caesar, Nix, Fields, Rodgers at QB. Easily Fields for me.
Yeah,
I'd go
hard
Fields
agree.
today, yeah.
High
Fields
upside.
picks are going to give you kind of the same thing, but Fields is going to have even more rushing. So,
Mario Hampton or Tet at PPR?
I go Hampton. It's the same sort of guarantee yourself not the 0. McMillan has looked really good, but kind of put up a stinker last week.
Well, the Carolina offense is not great.
Exactly. And Omarion Hampton, he's already the bell cow in LA. So
he's going to be. I think Hampton's going to be a top 5 running back next season. By next season, he looks the part, man. He's a good looking running back. I would play today. Like I said, he's one of my starts today. I like him.
Yeah, we're all aligned there. We love Ted as a player, just don't love the offense that he's on.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I couldn't get myself to draft him, but I hope he proves me wrong at some point this year.
Value was right where I managed to get him. I think I took him in like the 13th
Yeah.
or 14th round or something like that. So it was like,
He's going to be one of those guys. Yeah, halfway through the year, you're going to be like, "Damn, I wish I had drafted him." But
right.
like,
It's kind of what I'm banking on with most of my team this year. Go for the late production, get that playoff push.
on draft day, nobody wants to draft Bryce Young receivers.
Right, exactly.
So true.
Getting to my wide receiver starts. I love DK Metcalf today against his old team. Revenge game. Aaron Rodgers is going to look his way a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love DK.
I think DK might
today.
go off today.
I really
vintage
think
DK, like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. DK.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that he does. So I think it's going to be. I think he's a must start today. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown against Philadelphia. Mahomes, he's his number one receiver right now with Xavier Worthy out, Rashee Rice out. He doesn't.
To back up again.
I started him on guillotine week 1, and that kicked ass for me.
Target share. He got 9 targets last week.
16.
16,
catches.
excuse me, 9 catches. 9 catches, 16 targets. Target share. He's got all of it right now.
Yeah, see, there's some analytics for you, folks. We already got some stat lines there. So Marquise Brown, I love him. The Philly defense is pretty good, but I think Marquise is going to see enough target share today to be worth a play. And then we already talked to death about Egbuka. You guys know I love him, and I think he has a huge day today against Houston.
Yep.
Giddy up. Tight end starts. I went with 4 because I couldn't decide for my 3, so I took 4. Juwan Johnson against San Francisco. This is a guy that, again, target share. I forget how many targets he had last week. He had an insane amount of targets. Just think about it. He's a safety blanket, and it's the kind of offense that favors the tight end. So I love Juwan Johnson. I think I saw Adam picked him up in one of our leagues, or somebody did. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't Adam.
It wasn't me, but somebody. Yeah, I remember somebody picked him up.
So he's definitely a great target share pickup. We talked about Jake Ferguson. Dak loves him in the red zone, and he looked really good last week in even a game that wasn't a great game for Dallas. I think against the Giants, it's an easier matchup. I love Ferguson even more. Again, going back to that Jacksonville game against Cincinnati, Brenton Strange, the tight end, looks great. And I think against the Cincinnati defense that can't stop the tight end, look for him to go crazy again today. He could easily finish in the top 5 this week. Love Brenton Strange.
Well, you said it. Cincinnati defense has not changed, and they were the worst team against the tight end all of last season.
Yep. So Brenton Strange definitely he's a must start, even above some names like Travis Kelce and people like that. So if you have him, fire him up. Last but not least, I couldn't leave this guy off the list. Hunter Henry against Miami. He's been a great red zone target for Drake May. Drake May had a rough week last week. He's not going to have as rough of a week against a terrible Miami defense. Hunter Henry, I'm going to say it, he's probably going to have 5 or 6 red zone targets alone this week, and he probably has 2 touchdowns. So he might not have a ton of yardage, but I think he's going to get you some touchdowns today.
He never has a ton of yardage.
660 yards.
10 yards and 2 touchdowns. He keeps making the team every year.
It's because he's got the hands. Zim, let's check out your tight ends.
At Chigaquanquo versus the Rams, safety blanket. I think Cam Ward's going to look his way quite a bit, especially in red zone situations. I mean, who else do they have out there? Just body size versus the opponents. Kyle Pitts, I mentioned a little bit earlier. I think in a quick game, in a game that favors underneath and just trying to get the ball out and trying to beat that pass rush, any head coach with a half decent game plan is going to utilize his tight ends quite a bit in that situation. And hopefully Atlanta does that. Lastly, Dalton Kincaid at the Jets. In the event that this is a high scoring affair, which it very easily could be, Dalton Kincaid always gets his in those. I swear to God, if the Bills put up 30 plus, Dalton Kincaid has a touchdown. It seems almost inevitable. So if they put up a lot of points today, I expect Dalton Kincaid to be putting up some of those points. In addition to the fact that just against the Jets don't have a whole lot across the middle of the field. It's open for tight ends. I expect that to be a theme kind of this year, that tight ends will eat against the New York Jets.
I love it, man. I love it. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for, Adam. I know you also have Dr. Strange.
Yeah, I got Strange. Like I mentioned, Cincinnati's worst against tight end last year, and as you said, it's still the same defense pretty much. So I expect them to give up plenty of receptions to the tight end again. And Brent Strange is one of those guys that's starting to break out here. And is this his second season? Was he a rookie last year?
I think it's his second season.
Yeah, second or third, but that's about the time these tight ends tend to start breaking out. So I love him today. And yeah, Juwan Johnson, since last season, the games he's played with Spencer Rattler, he just gets, like you said, a huge target share. Spencer Rattler loves to throw to him. And what else do they have besides, trying to get Chris Olave killed out there? It's dump it off to Juwan Johnson. I don't know if you guys saw. Did you see Chris Olave get destroyed again last week on one of those plays?
Yeah, that was brutal, dude.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't even watch it anymore. I'm just like, God, what are we doing out here with him? I'm like, I can't believe he's even playing anymore with that shit. But Juwan Johnson, yeah, great target share today versus San Francisco. Again, probably playing from behind, I bet, in that game. And then Tyler Warren, man, he dominated targets and stuff last week for the Colts. The Colts offense looked pretty good. Daniel Jones throwing it. I think he had like 9 targets maybe and 7 catches. I expect him to easily do that again. I know Denver's good defense, but even more likely that they dump it off to Tyler Warren, I think. And they also tried to give him a running play last week, which he did a lot of in college. So it's just touches. He's going to get probably the most guaranteed touches for a tight end right now in week 2 of his career.
Yeah, it's exciting. Definitely rewarding people who took the shot on him.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones looked better than expected. I know that probably won't stick, especially against Denver this week. But
exactly. But he's always been capable of putting up yardage in games when he has a good matchup.
fantasy wise, sure.
Yeah, he just sucks overall. But
also, I want to point out for that San Francisco New Orleans game, Spencer Rattler most likely versus Mac Jones. So I just want to put that out there. That might be the worst matchup of the year.
Whole lot of Christian McCaffrey in that game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Juwan Jennings is playing, though, I saw.
Oh, is he? Nice.
Yeah, he's active, I think.
That's a thing of beauty for them. That's another guy that some people got super late in drafts that can certainly help out. But we got through tight ends. Let's get the sits. Adam, what do you got for us?
Cam Ward. Hopefully a lot of people aren't starting him necessarily, but, man, what a bad matchup this is going to be for him versus the Rams. I think the Rams defense looked awesome in week 1. Cam Ward didn't look bad, but, he's going to be shaky as a rookie. It's not a huge passing attack or anything. The Rams pass rush is pretty stout. I think there could be a lot of turnovers in this game possibly. I love the Rams defense today. And then Isaiah Pacheco, I'm worried about him in general, and especially versus Philadelphia defense. Jalen Carter will be back this week playing, hopefully not spitting in people's faces, and probably stuffing the run there. So I'm a little worried about Pacheco. Him and Kareem Hunt practically split carries, I think, last week. And Calvin Ridley versus the Rams, again, same matchup, man. I hate this matchup for the Titans. I think the Rams defense is going to dominate this game. And I think it's a blowout for the Rams today in that game. So Ridley may get some targets, but I don't think they're going to be good ones.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love Ridley this season. Just the first 2 weeks, just tough matchups for him. All right, Zim, what do we got for your sits?
Jonathan Taylor versus Denver. That's probably a very controversial one, but Denver's got a good defense. And this game could get out of hand quick if Indy doesn't keep up. They're going to be playing from behind. They're going to be throwing a lot. I know Jonathan Taylor is basically that whole offense, but I think there's a good chance for him to have 40 yards, no touchdowns kind of game.
Wow.
It feels, again, it's kind of just a vibe check on this one, but just it feels like the kind of stinker that he's put up in the past. You're counting on him to have a good game. He's the whole offense. Week 2, kind of bounce back. I don't think it's going to happen. Secondly, Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Chicago. Again, kind of a surprising one, I'm sure, but the Bears defense held up really well for about 52 minutes last week without their starting cornerback. Amon-Ra is also in a first year in a new system, and Lions offense did not look that great. Looks very disjointed and out of sync. Jared Goff also historically plays terribly against the Bears.
Yeah, you got to rattle him early. The Bears rattle him early, and they mentally kill him every time.
It doesn't matter who the coach is, what year it is, what the record is, how good the game ends up being, how good either team ends up being. Like,
one of the funnest Bears games of the last 5 or 10 years was that Monday night when he was with the Rams and the Bears just sacked him got like 5 interceptions on him and sacked him like 5 times, and it was
Sunday night.
So fun. Yeah, it was so fun to watch.
It was Sunday night. I was there. It was electric.
Yeah, they were good at the time too.
Yes. No, it was an amazing game, and it's like ever since then, Jared Goff can't shake it. I don't know why.
They're in his head since that game.
Like, if you want a prop bet for today, I don't know what his over-under on interceptions is for the day, but I would put it over half, like over a 0.5 interceptions. I think for sure the Bears D gets a pick on him. He historically plays poorly, so maybe Jared Goff should be on this list, but I put Amon-Ra St. Brown because he's a more likely starter to me. Given his production in years past. Again, all it takes is one touchdown for him to turn this on its head, though. So I don't think he's going to get that projection that he's looking at. I think he's projected at like 15 or 16 points, and I think he's closer to 8 to 10 at most. So lastly, I have Isaiah Pacheco versus Philadelphia. Not that I think a ton of people are starting Pacheco, but
there's some people.
The Chiefs have definitely, I did last week, and that's kind of what made me put him on here, is to remind myself to sit him. But Philly has a very good front seven. This is going to probably be a passing game for both teams. I was literally just making some prop bets while you guys were talking because I have some bonuses I need to use and want to make sure I get in before kickoff. And, I want to hit the overs on both quarterbacks passing yards. Both quarterbacks passing yards are in the low 200s. I think it's very possible that this is a throw first attack for both teams. And again, Pacheco is stuck in a running back by committee against a good front seven. So to me, he's a sit today.
I like it, man. I got Kenneth Walker against Pittsburgh. We talked about Seattle earlier. Pittsburgh's run defense is going to be good today. And Walker didn't even, he was 50-50 split with Charbonnet, who looked even more explosive than him. So for me, Kenneth Walker is a sit, at least for the immediate future. Daniel Jones, a lot of people saw what he did last week and picked him up. I saw he's one of the highest claimed players in fantasy. Do not start him against Denver this week. I beg you.
Good call.
I beg you. There's going to be people that are going to say, oh, it doesn't matter. But this defense in Denver is nothing to shake a stick at. They're probably one of the best defenses that I've seen in a really long time. They're going to be a good team all year long. Daniel Jones is going to have a really, really rough day. He's going to come crashing back down to earth for sure. And then another guy that saw a lot of volume last week, and Keon Coleman, looked really good. The Bills' offense looked really good, but the Jets are a different beast on defense. He's probably going to draw sauce for a good chunk of the day. I just don't see Keon getting it done in this game. I think this is a James Cook game all day long, so I'm staying away from Keon Coleman.
It's a James Cook game, huh? Let me go make sure he's starting in all my leagues.
I have him starting everywhere. I'm a big James Cook fan. I got him late in a lot of not super late, but later than I expected in a lot of drafts. So they just paid the guy. They're going to use him.
I done dead set it on our kickoff show.
For sure. Let's get into sleeper territory. By the way, chat room, keep getting your questions in. We got about 10 more minutes before we wrap things up. Get us your questions. We'll answer them here for the next 10 minutes before we get out of here. Sleepers. The big tight end that saw more targets than David Njoku last week, Harold Fannin Jr. against Baltimore. He's one of my sleepers for the week. He was a lot claimed this week. That was great English right there. A lot claimed. He was one of the highest pickups this week. And Adam's phone goes tumbling, and there he goes. Uh-oh. There he is. But it was a very back in the day Gronk and Hernandez kind of vibe in Cleveland last week. So I think that continues. I like him. I think he's going to continue to see those targets. So fire him up if you need help at tight end. I like him in a flex spot. J.K. Dobbins against Indy. He's the starter for now. He did enough last week to make himself look as a worthy starter to get enough points as a flex. Indy's run defense is not great.
Another good prop bet there. A lot of places have his carries line at about 10.5. If you can hit the over on the 10.5, I think it's totally worthwhile.
Yeah, I think Dobbins gets easily over 10 carries today, and I mean he's a guy that he's got a lot of experience, and I know that's what Sean Payton looks for. So I think he's going to have over 10 carries, probably a touchdown today, close to 80, 85 yards. So I think it's great as a sleeper. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to put Caleb Williams on this list. He had a real rough week last week. He couldn't hit any wide open guys. He was very inaccurate. I imagine the focus this week should have been on footwork and, release point. I imagine they're going to try to hammer that home in a revenge game for Ben Johnson. So I think Caleb comes bouncing back. I expect him to hit some really nice throws today. And he got dropped in a lot of leagues after that performance. So I'm not saying you're going to fire him up, but I definitely expect him to have a much better showing than he did last week.
I'm starting him over Penix in one of my leagues, and I feel a little crazy for it, but I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, they're about the same guy this week in my brain, but
I think so. They were about the same guy last week too, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say
for sure.
Pretty comparable there.
It's a good problem to have between those two guys, to be completely honest. So,
no doubt. Oh, this is a good sleeper list, Jim.
Yeah, man. I dug deep for this one. I really did. I had some on there, and I started looking through you guys' lists to kind of compare and contrast our sleepers specifically. And I had like DK Metcalf and Hollywood Brown as sleepers, and I was like, okay, obviously I am not as smart as I think I am. These guys are clear starts, not sleepers. So let's dig a little deeper here. Dylan Sampson at Baltimore. I think he's going to get a good chunk of carries today. I think he's going to get a lot of goal line opportunities if they get it. He is a little touchdown dependent. But I do think he, in deeper leagues, especially where you're thin at running back, he is a good option. Next up, I've got Wan'Dale Robinson at Dallas. I think this, I've talked a lot about potential high-scoring games this week, but I think this is another one of them. Russell Wilson really likes Wan'Dale Robinson, and Dallas's defense is going to be keyed in on Malik Neighbors for sure. That leaves Wan'Dale Robinson with a lot of opportunities, and they like throwing him these quick screens too. They really like throwing him these quick screens. And if he breaks one of those, yes, it's what he's good at.
Yeah.
And if he breaks one of those, you're looking at a 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown pretty quickly with him.
I like that. I like that.
It's definitely a high upside sleeper, but you go with it. Lastly, Bashal Tutin at Cincinnati. Extremely touchdown dependent. But I think he gets his opportunities. I think he's going to get a chance to get one. It's a little risky. Don't get me wrong. But even if you're not thinking about starting him necessarily, I do think he's a good guy to stash for later in the year.
I'm agreeing with you. All right. We got a couple questions here. Let's hit them real quick before we get to Adams. KC wide receivers, Hutchinson or Thornton? Neither.
If I have to pick those, I go Thornton.
I'm not touching either of those guys. Sorry. Adam, are you touching either of these guys?
Oh, I said I'd take Thornton if I had to, but no, I'd try not to. But if you're picking,
I mean, I guess if I'm desperate, I'll go Thornton as well. But
Right.
Jason wants to know: start 2, full PPR, Pollard, Swift, Myers, Judy. Myers for sure. Killer
Myers
matchup this week.
100%. Probably Myers Pollard. I think that's what I like.
I'm not playing Pollard versus the Rams defense today.
That's
Myers
fair.
and Swift for me.
Myers and Swift.
I'll take.
It's a revenge game for Swift as well. Remember that.
Yeah, it's Myers and Swift or Judy, but probably Myers and Swift.
I want to like Pollard, guys. I really do. I
like him, just not this matchup. Full PPR: Chubb, Pittman, Jalen, Warren, Waddle.
I go Warren and Waddle.
Who is it? Chubb?
I'm going to go Warren
Maybe
and Chubb
Warren and Chubb. Maybe Warren and Chubb.
Yeah, I'm going Warren and Chubb myself. I think Chubb has a nice game today. Adam?
Who are the choices? Chubb, Pittman, and who?
Warren or Waddle? Full PPR. Oh, it's 1. Actually, it's start 1. Shit, I missed that. If I had to pick one, I guess I'm going probably Warren.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think I'd probably go with Jalen Warren there if I'm just have to pick one.
Yeah, I missed that. I mean, ideally, you're starting Warren and Chubb here, but
just one. Excuse me. Yeah, Warren.
And last question here until we get to Adam, and then Adam's got to get out of here. What up, fellas? Start 1 half PPR. Trevion, Hendo, Hollywood, or Pearsall.
Personally, I like Hollywood. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood's the guy today. I mean, still right now.
I love Trevion today in this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. I love Henderson's matchup today versus.
If you're going for upside, I'm going to take Henderson. If you want to have the safer play is Hollywood, I think. But I think Henderson goes nuts today.
Yeah, I think he could break a long touchdown today.
So I'm going to go Henderson. But Henderson or Hollywood, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Pearsall, I'm down on with Mac Jones today.
Yeah.
Likely. It's not official yet, but those toe injuries are tough for quarterbacks. So I don't think we're seeing Brock Purdy today.
No, he's expected to be out like 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for a while.
And let's get to Adam's sleepers.
I got, like we just mentioned, that Miami Patriots game. Henderson, Keyshawn Butte, been seeing he had like 9 or 10 targets last week. He also did at the end of last year as well. Drake May was targeting heavily at the end of last season. He seems to be a crucial part of this offense now, I think. So I like him as a sleeper. He's been on waiver wires this week. A lot of people picked him up. I like him today. I like Zach Charbonnet at Pittsburgh because I think he looks like the more explosive player right now because I'm just not sure Kenneth Walker's fully healthy. He was banged up all training camp, and I'm hoping they're just using him slowly, and it's not a full switch here because a lot of people have a lot invested in Kenneth Walker, but we got to play that out. So I'd rather play Charbonnet if you need somebody in your flex or something off your bench. And then I'll take Geno Smith, like I said, versus Chargers today. Chargers look good. I think this game could score a lot of points going back and forth, a whole lot of yardage going. So give me Geno with Jacoby Myers, as we mentioned, and look for 300 yards for Geno, I think.
Love that.
I got to get out of here, though, guys, and go to work.
All good, brother.
Hope
Good
you
luck
guys
today
have
in
a
your
good
matchups. We'll see you next week, my friend.
All right, guys. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, Adam. Good deal. And I know we're going to wrap ourselves here shortly, Zim. We'll see if there's any last-minute questions here. I'll change it to the two-man view. There we go. But let's look real quick at the inactives. I know they're starting to pour in. There's nothing major that I saw.
No, Quinshon Judkins is active, which I do think is notable.
Yeah.
Because
There's officially no Xavier Worthy.
I'm sorry?
There's officially no Xavier Worthy for KC and no Dallas Goedert for Philly.
Okay.
So
no Goddard. That's big.
Yeah, those are two names that people were probably looking at starting. So
let's see.
I'm going through so far, nothing else.
I do see that the Ravens are not activating Jair Alexander.
I did see that.
Which makes that a little more interesting there. Devin Witherspoon inactive for the Seahawks makes that Aaron Rodgers start a little more favorable.
Yeah, for sure. And DK, even better.
Exactly.
I'm liking some DK today.
Let's see.
I know a lot of people were curious about Christian Kirk last week for Houston. He's inactive again this week for Houston.
Okay.
I know that's tonight, but I'm sorry, that's tomorrow night. There's doubleheader tomorrow night. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Deron Bland inactive for the Cowboys. That Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors 1-2 punch is looking a little sexier right now.
Yeah, I feel better about that. But that's it for the most part in terms of fantasy relevance. Obviously, anything breaking will come across the wire closer to kickoff, but I think that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We'll give you guys a couple minutes to get some last-minute questions in if anyone has any. But Zim, I'm curious. I didn't look myself, but whatever the prop is for catches on DK today, I think I'm going over.
I did not take a super close look, but I hammered the over. I remember it being low enough that I liked the over. Let me take a quick look here. So I use FanDuel Sportsbook. To me, it's just the easiest one to use. It looks like it's only at 4.5.
4.5 catches?
I'm double checking to make sure that's not an alternate line.
Because if that's, I'm going over on that.
His over-under is at 4.5.
Yeah, I'm going over on the catches there. Is it like his old team? Come on now.
Yeah. Yep. 4.5.
I love that. That's my prop play of the day.
That is insane. Now, granted, the over's at a minus 136 right now. The under's at a plus 108. So, clearly we see what bettors are thinking about this.
Sure. Well, if you get an odds boost, which I'm sure there's a lot of them flying around this early this season.
That's exactly what I did. I parlayed that with an odds boost. Excuse me, with a bonus bet, with a free bet. So
take it, man. I like that one all day. I've got DK. I'm invested in DK in a lot of leagues this year because we saw what Adams with Rodgers did with Devontae Adams all those years. I feel like it's the same thing going with DK this year. So I hope we get that. Well, all right, Sim. I think we're probably at a point where we're going to wrap. If you get a last-minute question, you can shoot it in. But if you want to hit us up on Twitter, you can get us at FFBGoon. You can get me at Joe Mandel. Zim is at Raging Bear Fan. Adam is at Papa Bear 816. And Tooch is at John Santucci VIP.
Yes.
So you can hit us up there. Our buddy Tooch will be back next week. He had some other things going on today, but Zim, appreciate you filling in for us, brother. It's always fun talking football with you, my friend.
Of course, man. I am off to try and cram in a little bit of homework before kickoff.
There you go, man. I'll let you do that. As always, everybody, God bless America. God bless football. Let's kick some ass, and we'll see you next week after you win those fantasy matchups. See you next